Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as a way of honoring and creating our past, we began a little board meeting by acknowledging that we call on the ancestral land amongst the Ethiopians and Lenape people. And please keep checking out our agendas and minutes and help us build our continually growing list of ways to really support Indigenous communities.
Okay, we don't have a whole lot of things on this agenda this evening, because we're gonna actually stay pretty busy tomorrow evening with the joint town and village meeting. So we have some pretty straightforward stuff to do on this business agenda. Before we make any changes, I wanted to go ahead and move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any announcements from trustees?
I have two.
Go ahead.
So first, I wanted to acknowledge that today is Trans Day of Remembrance. And, you saw in the agenda, we have a placeholder for a resolution that we do every year where we, name the names of trans and gender nonconforming individuals who died this past year due to transphobic violence, but still working on it to get it right. So that'll be our next meeting, but I thought maybe we could take like a quick second to quietly reflect on this. And special thanks to, the coalition of groups on campus today that held a very, I think, powerful event for Trans Day of Remembrance. I'm really grateful for the stack of resources I left that room with that I'm going to share at a couple events this weekend. Also wanted to let everyone know there is the the bus transit route optimization plan survey. It's online and I think it's open until December 20th, but basically it's asking us about the route. So if everyone can fill it out, that'd be great. I'll make sure to put it on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and I'm sure you guys all will too. So we can let them know how we need the bus to work in the future.
So I'm not sure, did you mention that our plan is to do the Trans Day of Remembrance at our village board meeting on December 11th?
At our next meeting, yeah, I can say
Okay. Okay,
yeah.
okay, December 11th. That's it. Any other announcements from trustees?
And thanks for your patience with that, because it's not only, I realized not only me needing to finish it, but groups wanted to come and be present for it, but they're at other events like for the day, so thank you.
Good, so our timing will work well.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna bounce right into our business agenda. So we have a relatively short business agenda because we're gonna be very busy with our joint meeting tomorrow evening. All right, so as far as the second item on this business agenda, we have water service rules that are related to emergencies. So, everyone's pretty familiar with the fact that we've been, trying to conserve water more recently. So what I'm going to propose that we do as a village board is to declare an emergency, which basically encourages all our municipal water users to only consume municipal water for necessary household or business consumption until our village board declares that the emergency is terminated. And these powers exist per a law that's existed for some time in our books. So do you want to do anything differently besides go ahead and declaring an emergency to encourage conservation?
This is beginning today.
Beginning after we approve my motion.
Right. Yes, okay.
okay, second.
So if you If you took a long bath earlier today, you're fine, but you
Okay.
can't take one tonight. Well, you can take an appropriate length bath.
Just
Okay,
reuse the bathwater, sorry. Wait, I'm good.
okay, so all in favor?
Hi.
Next item on this business
Oh,
agenda.
wait, you need a public comment,
Okay,
sorry.
anyone from the public interested in making a public comment?
Yes, I would like to, that's cool. Just here to say hello. My name is Joseph Davis from the Public Access Committee. I've been a member since March of 2023. I'm very excited to see a recent franchise agreement be proposed. I think you guys will be going over it tomorrow at the meeting. But I just wanted to speak on the record and say thanks to, our deputy mayor and mayor for talking a bit about it, but also Kitty Brown has been negotiating with it, so she's been a great liaison. And I think we've got a really good offer. Little bit about what the public access channel is, you might not know it even exists, but we've been kind of in a state of waiting for the proper equipment to broadcast on high quality, high definition. And that's being offered at zero costs by Spectrum. In this recent agreement, they will upgrade us to HD. And they've also generated the possibility of having $5,000 donations to the community center, the Elting Library, and the New Paltz Rescue Squad. So $15,000 for the community in exchange for moving past the senior discount that we've talked about, which I think serves under 15 people in the community. So something that could benefit many hundreds of people with these donations, and I think creating a public access channel for the community, for the young people at the college, for different groups on campus, but also for any member of the community who wants to create a documentary, help tell the story of New Paltz, the future, where we're headed, and some of the things that we've done in the past. We were there at the first Juneteenth celebration, creating a documentary. During COVID, we helped with some informative videos, and we're doing certain projects now on the Henry W. Du Bois Street project. And we are in talks with local groups to get student films and projects on the channel once it's in high definition, maybe some local sports and different interest piece, as well as children entertainment and beyond. So just very excited. I want to encourage the board to take that agreement into consideration so we can move forward and start 2025 with a really bright new public access channel. So that's all for me. And I'll probably see you guys tomorrow to see it hopefully come through. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Anyone online or here in public? No? Okay, so let's move on. I already approved the consent agenda, so
Alright, read.
annual trans day, we did, oh god, annual three, our business agenda item number 3. So Scary Chappelle is looking for a waiver of their 30-day liquor license review. I move that we go ahead and grant that request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is related to Millbrook Preserve. So we received a grant in 2019, we built a bridge. Actually, I think that grant award was from 2016. So this is a many-year project. At the time, New York State Parks asked us to spend, I believe it was about $20,000 on a survey, even though we had a village survey and a town survey of the parcel that encompassed the entire Millbrook Preserve, but they wanted a new survey on one piece of paper as opposed to 2. So we spent, tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money on another survey as required by state parks. Now we're trying to close out that project. Initially, the word that we received is that they wanted us to do another survey that included the improvements, which is basically just dropping a bridge in the middle of the parcel, no change whatsoever to any of the boundaries. And we got a quote from the individual that did our first survey, and it would cost $5,500, which I just found to be amazing. And that was a great deal, because if you hire some other company, they would basically have to start from scratch.
Right.
And Parks was saying that that was a condition to get our remaining $30,000 in grant money back. Ariana, who's been administering this grant program, and I have been pushing state parks to look at this very differently. Seems like they finally agreed to the idea of taking the existing survey that we already spent a very significant amount of money on, and I could draw on the survey where the bridge is and initial it, and they'll be okay with that. Which I'm blown away by, but I'm really grateful because I really feel like we need to do a whole lot better at being careful with limited taxpayer resources, and this is a great example. You know, just complicated projects with asks that feel unnecessary are really, really frustrating. And that took a lot of time just to get them to agree to making a cosmetic change to a survey that in 2018 felt like we didn't need. So no action needs to be taken there, or I guess the action is I move that the board approve me initialing a mark I make on a piece of paper that would indicate where the bridge is on the survey that we already own.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the next project relates to the WQIP grant that we received. This is a program administered by the DEC. It was an award that we received in 2019. It's a pretty challenging project. There were delays related to COVID. I've recently proposed to the DEC that we actually try to make that project a little bit more straightforward and simply focus on the improvements that we would like to make to the headworks at the sewer plant, and use some of this grant money for that project. I think the total headworks improvement would be in the neighborhood of $600,000. That would also help with inflow and infiltration. You know, that was a important topic that was being discussed last night at our planning board meeting. You know, neighbors get concerned about the fact that we're under a consent order from the DEC. So we've been aggressively trying to update infrastructure. So this would be another project that would help towards our management of inflow and infiltration, and that, you know, is challenging to deal with when we have large rain events. So the DEC response was they would consider it, but we'll need to submit a new engineering plan with a budget and scope of work. So our engineer is in the midst of working on that. So I wanted to get out in front and ask our board to green light officially asking the DEC for this pivot and using this grant money differently. So this is the contract that's listed here, but it's a grant for the sanitary sewer overflow abatement. Someone want to second my motion, and then we can answer any further questions.
I'll second that.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
And Brad has been working as our project manager on the notification of residents regarding the lead service line project. So this is an unfunded mandate from the federal government. Fortunately, we actually did get some compensation from New York State that should help us manage this project to a certain degree. But what it doesn't do is give you money to actually go and physically investigate where lead might be. Fortunately, we have not found any instances of lead in service lines in people's homes. So, you know, for instance, when our public works team is changing out a water meter, they're looking at the service line that's coming in to connect to that water meter. And we've messaged via social media, letters to the paper. This is a physical letter that went out more recently. We're asking everyone in the community who's a property owner or a tenant to go ahead and look in their basement, see what connects to your water meter and see if you can identify whether or not it's lead. We've actually got some instructions about what to look for. You know, generally most water lines are going to be copper, so they'll be bronze in color or copper in color. they could also be plastic, but generally that would be after the meter and not before the meter. But we do know that there are some instances of lead because it was easy to bend, and they're called pigtails or goosenecks because they're bendable pipes that connect from water mains to copper service lines. And so, for instance, one of the reasons that we've been trying to chase down grant money to replace the water main on North Chestnut, there are pigtails, and I have pigtail examples up in my office. So you can see what those lead lines look like, but that's on the public side as opposed to the private side. So, we're on a regular basis asking the Environmental Facilities Corp and the Department of Health and basically any other entity to help us with money to swap out water mains. And by doing that, we would also remove the possibility of there being, these lead pigtails or goosenecks. But in addition, we're encouraging everyone to look in their basements to see if there's any lead, because the federal government is making sure that there's no lead in any public drinking water conveyance system. So we have a survey where we're encouraging people to ask themselves some questions to see if they can identify lead. Go down, look at your water meter in your basement. Should all know where your water meter is anyways. You should all know where valves are in case there's some sort of weird event in your house or your apartment. You never know. You might need to shut water off in an emergency type situation, but so we're just going to keep talking about this probably for the next several years because we have some timelines to abide by. And we're also going to keep trying to secure grant money to replace the public water mains and to make sure that there's no even small bits of lead in anyone's systems. And we've never had an instance where there has been even trace amounts of lead in our municipal water system. So this is just an important initiative, and it's scary and it feels very alarming, but we're asking everyone to triple check, not because we believe that there are health risks in new paltz related to lead, but just because we want to be extra careful. Any questions? Okay, so the next item is so for engineering services. So Bernier and Laros has been the village engineer for years. They're expert in water and sewer. We do a fair number of projects, some of our sidewalk projects more recently, as well as our ball court projects and the solar array that's going to be up on the fire station. It would be very helpful. We probably had a little bit more engineering muscle at our disposal to help us manage some of these projects. So I was speaking with our attorney about putting out an RFP to the engineering community to find a firm that could help us with basically non-water and sewer related projects. We're super happy with Bernier and Laros, and when they are able to help us with non-water and sewer related projects, that's great. But until we're able to clone our engineers who are based up in Kingston, we probably need to get a little more access to contractual services.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have that RFP yet, but that'll be on a forthcoming agenda.
Awesome.
Next item, I move that we approve the resolution for bills and claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bill, you want to add anything about last night's PB meeting and the
The 3 hour meeting, yeah. It was a very lengthy meeting, as you know, Tim. I think the two major discussions involved a subdivision proposal at Corner Prospect and Henry W. For single family homes that being proposed. There was pushback from some neighbors. There's concerns about the length of construction, given that the contractor mentioned that he likes to build one house at a time. They are not interested in having construction going on for 2 or 3 years. So there was some objections from the public on that. There was also discussion about driveway access during construction, and what that would require, like, regarding taking down trees. So there seems to be an open-mindedness to use one entrance, which would cross the new Empire State Trail. And what the requirement would be for the developer to perhaps make amends if that crossing should get damaged during the construction process. The other major one was 147, 149, 181 North Chestnut. Discussion about fire access. That seems to be,
Hold on, Bill. Oh, that's the former Agway,
that's the one.
or is that north? That's
That's the-
north of the former Agway.
Right, that's the
Okay.
next one over. 2 access points per fire code are required. But apparently now the owners of Agway and this developer are willing to do one driveway now, so they'll share it. So a shared driveway seemed to be the theme of last night's meeting. There was a consolidated review held at Ulster County, the Ulster County Planning Board a couple of weeks ago that Mike Baden arranged, and it was basically brought together a a new representative with the DOT that Mike Baden reports is very receptive and it's a lot different in terms of his approach to talking with us. So he's pleased that that took place just for that benefit alone, not necessarily that benefit alone. And then there was an initial presentation from William Pond, who's thinking about doing, well, who are proposing to do a 21,000 square foot addition in 10 separate buildings within the campus structure. Wouldn't necessarily go outside the campus structure, but within. This is just an initial, presentation. There's plans to include a 200 seat theater for the residents that there, an expanded dining room, house services and the like. This would take 3 to 5 years to complete. And, a lot to be said about that. So those were the 3 main things that I thought worth mentioning.
I would just add that there's a request from the town and village on our joint town village meeting for tomorrow night, where we're gonna ask the DOT to change the speed limit as you enter the village on North Chestnut Street. So basically, I believe so the way it works now is like when you hit the village boundary, it's 40 miles an hour and then it goes down to 30. So we're gonna ask that the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit starts at the village boundary and the 40-mile-an-hour starts a bit further north, 1,400 feet.
North.
So the thinking is, as we're we've rezoned that corridor and there'll be mixed use buildings and hopefully a lot more pedestrian usage, that it would make sense to have a slower speed limit than 40 mph.
Would
And then the DOT, the individual that you were talking about, of course, it's just, when we were at that meeting, he seemed receptive to that request and felt that it made sense. So from my experience, when municipalities ask for lower speed limits, it's generally not greenlit. So this is kind of exciting that we might actually end up with a lower speed limit after we ask for it to be lowered.
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, not to muck up the conversation, but there should be some discussion about the intersection of Shivertown and 32.
Shivertown and 32, like maybe a light.
Yeah, a light instead of a blinking yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe extending that 40 a little bit further north.
North of Shivertown?
A little bit, so it slows people down before they approach that intersection at 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a baddie, scary spot.
Yeah, there's been some accidents there over the years.
Yeah, I tried in Bay 20 years ago to have them, lowered from Clearwater to Shivertown to Mill Valley to do. Which I wasn't surprised.
And just north of Shivertown, there's like a good number of like rentals, and I keep seeing people walking And like when I had a car,
Right.
I'm like offering like random people, I'm like, hey, I can give you a ride into town, please get in. You know, because it's so scary right there, so I would love to see a light and slower speed.
And with the amount of housing we're building at the very edge of our village,
Mhm.
it's gonna increase traffic, but
Yeah,
it's an opportunity time for the DOT to take action.
good point.
Okay. So the ZBA update at their meeting last week, they were basically just moving forward with like the two most recent projects that we've already discussed. One of them was definitely the 7 Prospect interpretation of the building department's determination. So no new activities were reported out regarding zoning board of appeals. So anything else? I mean, this is basically just a warm up for tomorrow night's evening meeting at the town justice building.
I got my COVID shot today and hoping by 6 p.m. tomorrow I'll be in the clear.
Okay. So I'm gonna motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi. Maybe can I get a ride with you tomorrow?
No, you have to walk up the new Henry W. head path.
Yeah. Fine.